Oh my gosh! Oh, that was really heavy and it landed on my toes. Hi guys and welcome back to my channel. Happy February, and it is time to pick out a fresh new list of books to tackle in this month. And I read 11 books in January. I really enjoyed reading from a wide range of genres. I read a little bit of horror, a bit of fantasy, a bit of romance, and I think I'd really like some help from an external factor to pick out my TBR for this month. So I thought it'd be fun to use these reading prompt cards that I got from Illumicrate in one of their boxes, and this is what they look like. They all have a different prompt on the front. So this one is a book with a colour in the title. We've got a book with a journey or quest, a book with a map, a book that has enemies to lovers, and so on. So I think the prompts are really fun. We can run through a list of some options together for each one, and I think this will be really exciting. My only book that I'm carrying over from January is Blood and Steel by Helen Shearer. I started this maybe 1 or 2 days ago and I thought, I wonder if I'm going to be able to get into this. My head's like a bit scattered. I don't know if I'm ready to experience a new fantasy world, but I'm almost finished. I sat down last night, I read almost 300 pages, and yeah, I can fully say this fantasy series has piqued my interest. I think I'm going to sit down and be seated for the full 4 books. So this one is on my list to finish for February, and I think I will be buying the next 3 books. So I haven't counted this in my TBR for the month. This is just going to be like, if I'm addicted after this first book, you can expect that I'll be reading the next 3 this month and into next month. So I've got my cards here and let's pick out the first one together. A book with a 1-word title. Okay, this is a good one. Let me show you some of the options I've got around my room. So these piles have some books I haven't read yet, like Pachinko. I could go with that one, 1 word. I've got all of the Elsie Silver books, and you know what? I've just finished Powerless and it is time for Reckless, so this one could be a good option. What else? 1 word. I felt like I had so many. I've got Want by Gillian Anderson, which I haven't read yet, but I don't know if I'm in the mood to read a non-fiction at the moment, even though this one does sound really fun. Looking through my fantasy, I've actually read a lot of these ones already. I could read Spectacular, but I wish I read this around Christmas, because it's like a Christmas special in the Caraval universe, so maybe not that one at the moment. I've already read Babel. So I've got Pachinko, Reckless, and then I've already read Quicksilver. I've got my friend's copy of Manacled still. I'm kind of dipping in and out of this one on a PDF version I have that I got from AO3, so maybe not sure about this one yet. I've got quite a lot of books on here, but nothing looks like it's 1 word. Oh, I'm so excited to read Sorcery of Small Magics. It's like a cozy fantasy. I think it's gay. I've heard really good things about it. I literally have no books with 1-word titles in here, but a lot of books I still really want to read. Hehe, hello. And then checking down here, I have quite a big pile, to be fair. I've got Silver Cloak, which is 1 word, so this could be a potential good option. It comes out this summer and it's by Laura Stevens. Set in a world where magic is fueled by pain or pleasure. I've heard really good things about this one so far. I've also got Hungerstone by Kat Dunn. That comes out this month, and it's a gothic retelling of Camilla, I believe. And Camilla is the story that inspired Dracula. What else? What else? We also have Ambessa. Oh my gosh. I'm so excited for this one. It is a story continuing on the character from Arcane, if anyone's watched that on Netflix. Like, I loved Ambessa, and I think this is a story that kind of supplements that, so definitely a good option. Guys, this is such a range. I don't know which one to go for. I don't think Pachinko. I'm just not in the mood for kind of like a lit fic just yet. So maybe I'll put that to the side. And then, oh, I don't know. I want to read all of them. But I think to make this easier, I'm going to go with Reckless, because I want to continue reading the Chestnut Spring series, and this would mean I'm 4 books into the series, which would be good, and I've heard really good things about this one. And now on to the second book. Which one's calling to me? The newest book on your shelf. Okay, I like this one. I know exactly what I just received, so this is perfect. I literally just got sent this 2 days ago and it was one I was considering for the previous prompt, so I feel like it's a no-brainer that I'll have to read Ambessa by C.L. Clarke. I loved Arcane. I'm so sad season 2 is over and I definitely don't mind revisiting this world in like written form. Guys, oh my god, I went to have a look at the blurb and I've just seen that the cover is foiled and it has art on the reverse of the dust jacket. Oh my god, that looks so good! It says, from the universe of Arcane League of Legends, the award-winning animated series now on Netflix, comes a story that has never been told before. The story of how Ambessa Madara rose to power, the throne belongs to her and she will claim it. And she's like a little girl on the throne. And here she's the badass woman we know and love. Okay, I'm really excited to read this. I've never read a book that is inspired by a game, so I'm looking forward to seeing how this one plays out. Also, C.L. Clarke is an author that I've always had on my radar for the Unbroken series, I believe, and so this is a good chance to test out their writing style. These are my February books so far: Blood and Steel, Reckless, Ambessa, fantasy romance, a romance, and a fantasy game book. I'm so excited. I feel like I want to pick like 20 books because of these cards. Let's go for a book with a queer character. Let's have a look and see what I've got. Okay, back to this pile because I know 2 off the top of my head. Sorcery and Small Magics by Mega Ducey is definitely gay, and The Darkness Outside Us is definitely queer. Like the main characters are queer. So let me get those out. It's all fun and games making a book pile until you actually have to get something off of it. That's right at the bottom. Okay, Sorcery of Small Magics, looking cute. And then, oh my god, this is all the way down. Pile almost fell over. And then this is The Darkness Outside Us. And I've had this one for a while. I've been really looking forward to it. It's a sci-fi. Looking back at this, guys, this is my chaos corner. I heard Fable for the End of the World is lesbian Hunger Games. Lesbian Hunger Games. I'm kind of in the mood for it. Plus, it comes out in March, so it might be a good read for February. Guys, wait, I want to read all 3 of them. Okay, so here are my 3 options. I've got The Darkness Outside Us by Elliot Schreffer, and this one says 2 boys alone in space, sworn enemies sent on the same rescue mission. This sounds really fun. And then I've got Fable for the End of the World, which looks so pretty. I'll put the actual final cover on the screen so you can see it as well. But it says, survival, sacrifice, a love that risks everything. And I know that my friend Amy loves this already, so I'm kind of tempted to put this on my TBR for this month. And then I can also let you guys know if it's worth it in time for the release date in March. Let's have a look at the blurb. So what I've gathered from the blurb is that this book is set in an apocalyptic wasteland. Cyrus controls all aspects of society by encouraging massive accumulations of debt from its underclass. And our main character, Nessa, has a family that has accrued so much debt that she actually qualifies to go into these live-streamed assassination games called the Lamb's Gauntlet. Like basically the Hunger Games, and it's a bloodbath in there. And we have our other main character who is an assassin, and she's trained to track and kill all of these people who are going into the games. So she's basically a living weapon, and somehow their 2 paths collide and they may actually fall in love under the circumstances. So I'm leaning towards this to add to my February TBR. Okay, and then for my 3rd choice is Sorcery and Small Magics by Mega Ducey. I'm in love with this cover. This is the fairyloot edition that I got last year, but I haven't picked up yet. This art could actually sway me to pick this up in February. Look! This is gorgeous. So we have 2 main characters. One is Leo. He is the master of small magics and he likes to perform small summoning spells, like he can summon butterflies with a song or turn someone's hair pink by snapping his fingers, and he stays away from like very powerful magic just in case it backfires. However, one day a mix-up with forbidden spells binds Leo to obey the commands of his longtime nemesis Sebastian Grimm. So we've got these 2 individuals that basically hate each other who are forced to spend time together, which is my favourite trope. So the 2 can't get away from each other because they have to try and undo this curse that's been put on them. I love the idea that these 2 people are going to have to spend time together to try and break this curse. Like, that sounds so fun to me. And also look at this art on the back. I'm guessing this might be Sebastian Grimm, and the one on the front is Leo. Look at the reversible dust jacket here. Okay, I'm picking two books. These are both going on my February TBR. I don't know why I put this off for so long. It sounds so fun. So for the prompt of a book with a queer character, we're going to go for Fable for the End of the World, which is a dystopian, and Sorcery and Small Magics, which is a cozy fantasy. I feel bad that I'm not picking this one, but at least now I know I really want to read it, so I can think about it for months. I am not allowed to pick two books for any other prompts. I'm not allowed. For my next prompt, I don't know, I'm gonna go rogue. I'm gonna pick from the bottom. Book with a love triangle. This is so annoying. I just read a book with a love triangle. I'm not sure if I can think of anything off the top of my head with one. And if you're wondering, I read The Rose Bargain by Sasha Payton Smith, and it was really, really fun. So if you like the Selection series mixed with the vibes of The Cruel Prince and Bridgerton, you're gonna eat up. Let's see what I've got with potentially a love triangle. I know that Wisteria has a love triangle. I think it might have a love triangle. I think I'd have to check my friend Amy. I've read Belladonna and Foxglove, but I've not read the third book in this series. I'm also tempted to reread White Hot Kiss. This 100% has a love triangle, so I'm tempted by that. Everything else I'm like, oh my god, is there a love triangle? I know that's not a love triangle. Is it Air by Saba Tahir a love triangle, guys? I still need to read this one. It's a spin-off from An Ember in the Ashes. Down here, oh my god, I don't know. I don't think any of these are love triangles. The only one I can think of that might be is one that my friend Tammy mentioned to me the other day. It's part of this series. Wait, I think it's over here. Road of Bones by Demi Winters. The Road of Bones by Demi Winters. I think I'm going to go with this one for the love triangle prompt because it is an epic and immersive Viking-inspired romantasy with a woman fleeing a ruthless assassin who accidentally joins forces with a group of mercenaries and must use all of her cunning to escape with her life and her heart intact. I think my friend Tammy, who recommended this to me, gave this book 4 or 4.5 stars, so she rated it really highly and said that the Viking-inspired elements were really interesting. I'm thinking March might be the month for this one. So I've got Blood and Steel, and then I've picked 5 books. So I've got 6 books on my February TBR. I'm thinking, shall we go for the 7th card? By an author you have never read before. I love this prompt. I've got so many books from authors that I haven't read, so this is a fun one. Let's have a look what I've got. I've picked off 2 books that fit this. So I've got A Fate Forged in Fire by Hazel McBride. This book started out as an Aemon Targaryen fan fiction, but has now been picked up and reimagined into a Scottish inspired fantasy world, and it sounds amazing. A powerfully blessed blacksmith must use her wits and fire magic to become the first queen in centuries and overthrow the corrupt powers ruling the kingdom, while also fighting her desire for her dragon riding adversary. And it's a Celtic inspired fantasy romance duology. It comes out in May. I'm obsessed with Hazel McBride on TikTok, like leading towards this one. But then I also have A Song of Legends Lost by M.H. Ian Day. This book comes out in April, and to be fair, I've had it since December and I've been eyeing it like every single day. And this is an epic fantasy that's set in a kingdom where only those of noble blood can summon the spirits of their ancestor to fight with them in battle. However, our main character, who is not of noble blood at all, manages to summon a spirit, and that could change the tide of war forever. And I haven't read a high epic fantasy yet, and maybe February would be a good time. I mean, this is definitely the year that I want to read Brandon Sanderson. Like, Mr. Brandy Sandy has been around everywhere. I know that he's an incredible fantasy author, but I just don't have his books yet. So I'm thinking I'm leaning towards this one, and I might put A Fate Forged in Fire for March. What are we thinking? Because this one comes out before A Fate Forged in Fire. And to be fair, I do have a lot of romance in the other books already, so I think I'm going to add this one to my list for February. Okay, I think this will be the last book I pick, so shall we do it blind? Shall we do it blind? Okay, a book set in a forest. This would have been a good one for Sorcery and Small Magics. Okay, but let's see what else I've got that's set in a forest. I could just I could just shuffle this and put this in the category, to be fair, because I think a lot of it is set in a forest. But I have another book that I'm thinking of. Let me grab it. North is the Night by Emily Raff. This one is Finnish folklore about 2 best friends who live in the Finnish wilderness, and they're inseparable. However, their friendship is put to the test when one of them is kidnapped by a death goddess and taken to the mythical underworld, forced to play the sadistic games with the cruel queen of the dark realm. I'm gonna add that to my list. So I've got quite a few. Let's go through everything I've picked together. So starting off with the, oh my god, this pile is really big now. First is Blood and Steel by Helen Shearer. I'll be finishing this one off and potentially getting the rest of the series. My first prompt was a book with a one-word title, and I'm going for Reckless by Elsie Silver. I think this will be a really fun romance palette cleanser to have amidst all of the fantasy I've got going on. So I'm happy with this one. The newest book on your shelf, that was Ambessa by C.L. Clarke. I literally got this on Friday, so perfect timing. And also I loved Ambessa's character in Arcane, so I can't wait to see what shaped her into the woman that we saw on the show. A book with a queer character, I've gone for Fable for the End of the World by Ava Reid, which it has been marketed as lesbian Hunger Games, and I'm just so happy dystopian is coming back. So yes, that's on my list for February. I couldn't pick between that one and Sorcery and Small Magic, so that's going on there as well. And I think this would be a nice change because this is a cozy fantasy, and I know a lot of my friends love this one as well, so it's like a no-brainer really. I should have read this ages ago. A book by an author that you have never read before was A Song of Legends Lost by M.H. Yinde. I'm excited, guys. My first epic fantasy of the year, and I can't wait to let you know what I think. A book with a love triangle was The Road of Bones by Demi Winters. She's thick though, she's very thick. I'm excited to add this one to my TBR. I've heard good things about it, and I can't wait to let you guys know my thoughts, because the second book I've already got, so I could potentially just go straight onto that in March if I'm feeling it. Last but not least, my prompt was a book set in a forest, and I've gone with North is the Night by Emily Raff. This came out January 2025, so literally this year. Also, Emily Raff wrote Pucking Wild, which is a reverse harem hockey romance, and I love that. So I'm like, okay, let's see what Emily Raff does in the fantasy space. Guys, I will say that I was hoping I'd have a prompt where I could choose Deep End by Ali Hazelwood, because that comes out in February. So you know what I'm gonna have to do? I'm just gonna have to add it to my TBR. And you know what? Last night my friends decided that we were gonna buddy read The Prince Without Sorrow. This one comes out in March, and I spoke a little bit about it on my Books to Look Out For in 2025 video. The pile is now this high. This is my February reading pile. Oh my gosh. Oh, that was really heavy and it landed on my toes. This is my February TBR. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 books. And you know what? I read 11 in... Oh, out of breath. I read 11 in January, so I think this is a good start, because at least I'll only pick from this pile now in February. And even if I don't read all of them, you'll definitely see these ones in my wrap up. But I haven't actually accounted for the fact that I could potentially read the other 3 books in this series. But you know what? This was fun to pick out anyway, and actually reminded me that I have a lot of books that I just wasn't thinking of when I was picking up my new reads. Like, I completely forgot I wanted to read Sorcery and Small Magics, and this one just kind of fell down my TBR because I've had it for quite a while and I didn't think of it. Maybe I wouldn't have even picked up The Road of Bones. But that love triangle prompt kind of lit something in my brain, and I was like, oh my god, I literally had Tammy in my ear saying that this had a love triangle last week, so this is kind of perfect timing. Yeah, you know what, I'm very happy with this stack. I hope you guys will stay tuned on my TikTok to see how much I get through in February, and obviously I will do a wrap up at the end of the month. You can see my January thoughts on my TikTok, but I will also incorporate that into another YouTube video with some longer thoughts, just in case anyone was interested in the books that I read in January. Yeah, thank you for picking out my February TBR with me. That was a little bit chaotic and probably a little bit delusional, but you know what? I'm so excited to get into this month now because this list of books is so good. Thank you guys so much for watching. Leave a comment down below letting me know what you're reading in February and if there's anything on this list. In the meantime, you can catch me on my other socials that I have linked down below, and if there's anything you want to see from me, please let me know in the comments. Otherwise, I will see you in my next video.